Welcome to That's My Biz, the Internet Business Showcase, where we bring exposure to products, services, and special causes of local businesses and organizations. Thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live from the BizLinks TV studio. Brought to you by Southeast Computers, repairs, upgrades, custom builds, and restorations. SoutheastComputersATL.com. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's My Biz. I'm Pamela Alexander, your host, and as always, we enjoy bringing to you the wonderful businesses, nonprofits, and associations that we meet when we're out there networking because we want you to know all about them. We have a wonderful guest with us today, Ms. Chandra Pemberton. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. We want to remind everyone, we're going to get into some good information, so we want to remind you that you can check out this episode again at our website, www.bizlinks.tv. You can also go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BizLinksTV. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can stay up to date when shows are released, as well as make sure that you give us some thumbs ups and some comments out there. And then lastly, don't forget our Facebook page at facebook.com/BizLinksTV. Now, I'm going to get right into it because we always want you to meet our wonderful guest and learn as much as you can about them in the time that we have. Now, Ms. Pemberton is with POSolutions Incorporated, and they are a property management brokerage firm that specializes in servicing homeowners and condominium associations and asset managers. So I want to get into, because I love this because this is something different, a different business than what we've had on the show. But a lot of you all probably experience their services and don't realize it. So first, tell everyone just what POSolutions really is all about.
POSolutions, as you said, we're a brokerage firm, and we offer worry-free property management services specifically to homeowner and condominium associations. So if your listeners, viewers out there, they are serving in a volunteer capacity on their board of directors in those neighborhood associations, they can employ our firm, and we can handle a variety of different aspects, Pam, from managing those delinquencies, collections, community governance, how to effectively run those meetings, everything from helping them litigate. We go to court for our clients, and anything ultimately to reduce the risk for those associations. That's what we're there for. I mean, we could be on a full service or part-time or some things a la carte, but because we're so vested into the communities, and our mission is to really preserve those neighborhoods and equip owners, we take it a step further by partnering with different assets managers or portfolio managers who may have foreclosed homes in neighborhoods or may need some type of building or facilities maintenance in the different communities. We'll go and we'll help them maintain those properties until they're ready to convey or get a buyer, so that ultimately is working to create a healthier neighborhood community that preserves value while keeping things safe out in the interim as well.
Okay, I love that, because so often you'll see neighborhoods and you'll see that one house and you're thinking, oh, they're bringing the values down, and they have a hard time, and kids, one, not knowing the laws, the regulations, things like that, a hard time figuring out how to deal with it, how to get to the owner, and how to make certain things happen, grass get cut and things like that. Now, I had a condo years ago out of college, and we had such a big challenge. I wish we knew about your company then, but we had a big challenge with our homeowners association, because one challenge I found was that it's the 80-20 rule. Only a few people are actually attend the meetings, truly vested in it, and hopefully are paying their association dues. So having a company like yours, I'm sure, is a great asset to truly come from the outside and not be one of the homeowners that everyone kind of knows, so they kind of go, oh, we'll get around to you. So having that kind of company come in.
It's funny that you say that, because we hear that all the time. It's either, hey, when people kind of find out what we do, or if I see someone in the community, it's they always have this egregious story about a HOA nightmare, or they either serve in the capacity and they understand what kind of happens behind the scenes. It can be a constant challenge across any association, whether it's $500,000 community or a first-time home buyer community, in terms of getting owners to actively participate. In general, it's not anything to be taboo about if you don't have members coming. Generally, if you don't have members showing up, some can take the approach in terms of, hey, well, you guys that are serving are doing a great great job and things continue to flow. Usually, if you do those things like that special assessment and saying, hey, dues are going to raise, then everyone shows up, ultimately to kind of go there. But when it comes to managing association, there are a lot of different things. And in terms of, I always say that we're only as good as our communities and our board of directors. We can do a lot of things, non-traditional, definitely within the scope of the law, because you do have your hierarchical structure from your federal and local, governing laws, your local municipalities, and then you have your declarations and your bylaws that come into effect, and you have to, follow all of those laws that merge together in terms of what you can and can't do in an association. So, from a self-managed perspective, if you've got those guys that are out there, who say, hey, we're small, we're a 30 home community, we self-manage, we see a lot of pitfalls that those guys tend to get in through, lack of enforcement or selective enforcement. And basically that means they're kind of picking and choosing, between, hey, we're going to force this to this neighbor, or we're not going to enforce this, because it gets a little compromising, as that volunteer leader to go to your neighbor and say, hey, we need you to cut your grass, or you can't paint, this fence is outside of the scope, or,
'Cause you got to live.
You
live
do,
near them,
and, or
so.
you don't want to take them to court for not paying those dues. So, we tend to get those calls, and it as a buffer, because in some cases, for some of those smaller communities, like I mentioned, 50 and under, they can come to us and they can look at different, architectural only services or financial only services. We often see some of the common trends when associations are self-managed. They get into situations where, just like we mentioned, it's either lack of enforcement regarding your covenants, or lack of adequate record keeping. Some don't know that, hey, you're required by law to make sure you have, something as simple as an account ledger. Tracing it back to a zero balance is very important. If you're going to eventually have to take this owner to court, if your record keeping isn't where it needs to be, then the judges are going to give us a hard time.
Wow. So now what about communities that don't have a mandatory association? Now, are you able to work with them at all, or help them to get to where they can put something in place?
Absolutely. In terms of how that community is set up, that falls with the developer, the declarant, at the time that the association is being planned, when they're, they buy that property and they're going to set that out. We have some that have come to us, civic organizations, or, not mandatory volunteer organizations. And it is a process that you have to go through. Ultimately, it does require a membership vote, where you're going through to basically recreate your documents, your declaration, to say, hey, we're making this conversion to become mandatory. And you do have to get the buy-in from the owners. We've gone through that process, with associations before, and you can do different things uniquely in terms of, hey, if you let's say if we've got this 50 home community, if we've got 30 of them to buy in, then unfortunately during that duration, that 30, they're only going to be subjected to those mandatory covenants that you've adopted to put in place.
Because I was wondering if you just needed a portion like above 50% to put it in place for everybody.
No,
but that's not the case.
Not necessarily. If you're coming from a situation where they are not, it's not mandatory, then you're going to have to get that buy-in. But what you tend to see happen is, in that scenario, those remaining, 20 homeowners who are not, a part of the association, you can write the declaration in a way that, hey, once that property sells or conveys, to an owner that's not, a sibling or a relative or something quick claimed, then they are automatically a part of that association. So there's several different things that you can do, but ultimately, with volunteer associations, it is that you have to get that buy-in, because we've seen some where you've got half of them, community looks great, and the other half is kind of,
Wow. I'll tell you now, with our show, we love to talk to our business owners out there, and we have a lot of viewers as well that are interested in starting their own businesses. And what I love is the opportunity for them to see all the different types of business and industries that are out there. So now tell me, how did you get into this particular industry?
Wow. I started out doing some architectural work for a colleague. I was actually, just kind of, small here, doing something completely different. I dare not to say, but that colleague came across and she needed some help with her architectural. At the time, I had more than free time on my hand. And I was still living in an apartment at that time. Didn't understand what home, HOA or that even meant. And so I started to do a lot of research and figuring out, hey, wait a minute, this is kind of a quiet kept secret. There are a lot of things happening. There are a lot of laws that govern what we do. We're governed by the Georgia Real Estate Commission, and you have to be licensed there. So I spent the time, figuring it out, researching, licensing, doing what was necessary, to credential myself, and it took off from there. And here I am, nearly 13 years later, and one of the competitors, here in our market. Let me say that, because it's a great space to be in.
Okay, that's
it really
fantastic.
is.
So now, in addition to working with the associations, and also, so we also talked about asset management. Tell us a little bit more about that.
In that space, we all remember the whole real estate market bubble and the crisis there. We, at that point, surprisingly, that was one of the height of our the careers, the history of POSolutions. In fact, that's where we onboarded a lot of our associations. We kind of took a different approach to how we manage. But essentially, with that and seeing that with some of these neighborhoods we had, there were so many foreclosures, across my desk was coming those closings, those verification. And I'm talking to those asset managers, and we're on the property, every week, and we're seeing it. So it was a point in time where there were a lot of things happening in the federal space, the Recovery Act, different legislations and opportunities that were created. So we made the transition to do some of the necessary steps in that federal space to, again, legitimize the company with that regard. And we started bidding on some of those contracts. And, when we have been, graciously, granted the opportunities to, right now we service work on Freddie Mac properties, Fannie Mae, HUD, of those foreclosures, and we also work with a variety of different commercial properties for their building and facilities maintenance as well. So it was just really a good fit, because ultimately our mission is to educate and motivate homeowners to build stronger and safer communities that preserve value. And under that preservation aspect and keeping those communities safe, preserving, making sure we don't have squatters in there, or the home isn't abandoned, bringing down those property values, encouraging owners to purchase, all that ties in together, so we want to be as effective and have as much reach as we possibly could. But that has been a very interesting time just in the real estate space all in itself. But doing that, it was a huge benefit for the company, because now we have so many great relationships, some 7 years down the road of doing that, where, if we do now have a home that forecloses, the likelihood is that we already work with that rep under another scope, and we can get that owner to that entity to go ahead and start paying their assessments and making sure they're maintained, and not just sitting there until they get a buyer to purchase that property, because the associations, they need those funds in the now. They can't wait and let that property sit for 3 years. So
now you mentioned the government contracts, and then even with the association. So how much do you all work with the actual individual homeowners, or kind of with the associations? Now, is it association dues that cover the cost for POSolutions to come in and work with them, or how does that work?
Right. So we are an independent agent. Basically, the association is an entity, it's a corporation, it's a business, and it operates as such. So just as any other business, if you're hiring different clients to perform different pieces of services, nothing different with that regard. So to the tune of, if the association elects to hire a management firm, that is a board-driven decision typically. And I'm going to say typically because I have seen some documents where things are, done a little bit different. But ultimately, the board of directors makes that decision as saying, hey, do we need or do we want to employ a management firm? And they can look and decide whether they want to have someone full service, whether they want to be, hey, handle financials or the architectural. That's going to be decided by the board. So ultimately, they go in, they hire. We have that independent relationship and contract. We're obligated to operate as such, those separate insurances. Our role is to come in while we are there, we're managing. Management firms still work at the directives of the board of directors. We cannot do anything outside the scope of the law, what their documents do and don't allow, but handling those day-to-day affairs, that's what we're there for. So we are taking those calls from the homeowners. We're handling those work order requests in the condos. If we've got, a pool that needs to be resurfaced, we're dealing with those vendors to get out, to get those estimates, to vet. can't do that vetting process. And essentially the board of directors, they make those decisions in terms of which clients they want to hire, and then we'll afterwards come in and follow the scope of the work that they're executing and make sure it's done to what the terms were agreed, and then we get those guys paid. In terms of the members, we deal with members. We're a live office. We have nearly 5,000 units that we manage. So we're a live office. The members may be calling. They may not, new owners into the community want to understand what their dues cover. If it's a condo, if they have the water connections that the association is responsible for, getting those utility services connected. It could range from, dealing with that member for, something as simple as that welcome transition packet and getting them in to, hey, I want to serve on the board of directors, and educating them, because we do offer, different trainings and things that are available, because, as I mentioned earlier, we only as good as our board of directors. We don't take the approach of, kind of keeping those firms at the mercy of the management company. We want our board members to be educated and understand the legalities of what they're doing. There are fiduciary responsibilities that are tied to this, because you're governing and looking overseeing other people's money. And there's a huge responsibility when it comes to managing the finances of an entity.
And I love this because so often in the communities I've been in, I'm going to tell you, people just kind of jump in there and just do what they think should be done. And, to the best, you get someone that might have some accounting or some finance, and then so they become the treasurer, and you vote them in as treasurer, and the president might be a good leader, those kind of things, So, knowing about, your business and your company to be a great resource, because my thing is always about that you don't know what you don't know. And getting in there and hearing that level of responsibility that oftentimes, the individual homeowners don't necessarily understand, but they know they've got to put the board together. So that's what they do. So knowing about your company is fantastic with that. Now let me ask, for your company, what are the specific licenses or certifications that are required to do what you do?
Got it. As I mentioned, we are governed by the Georgia Real Estate Commission. So in terms of managing associations, you do have to be a licensee per the Real Estate Commission. There are different 4 tiers of licensing in terms of being a broker, associate broker, a sales agent, and what's called also a community association manager. Respectfully, the training and education that you get with that licensing tier as a CAM or community association manager is it equips you and helps you understand everything that we do. However, per law, if you are in fact a sales agent or broker, associate broker, you can in fact manage in the space, but you do have to invest your time into our space to understand what it is and the laws around that. I am a broker. I do serve as a broker. So we do have on our staff individuals who are sales agents as well as licensed CAMs. There are some exceptions, in the law if you are a developer and if you are self-managed and living on the property and things like that. But I would say to those individuals, there is value in education and that licensing, and if in fact you're looking for different opportunities, we're here, we're available. There are lots of information out there, because it can easily get in a slippery, liable situation from how you enforce those covenants.
I love that. And one of the points, because we always know there's points that our viewers out there get an opportunity to make some notes, and hopefully do that with each and every one of our shows. But one, in talking about the different businesses and opportunities out there as far as industries go, but then even within that, the importance of getting your license, getting your certifications, not just kind of diving in there and doing something without all the education that you're getting, and then making sure that you are out there getting that education. I love that. And then, one thing too is, work in that space. And you just heard her say, reach out to her. Please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. You can reach us online, of course, at www.POSolutions.net. Our office number, 678-715-1430, or you can contact me directly at Shan, SHAN, at POSolutions.net.
I love that. Now, Shan, before there's a segue a little bit, but first I want to ask, now tell me what makes POS Solutions different or more unique than companies that are providing your similar services?
It's our worry-free model, hands down. As I noted, we are a live, transparent office. We have just, working and transitioning associations and hearing their woes and some of the things that some of their competitors are doing just in our market have been forward thoughtful enough, let me say, if I can say that correctly, to create a system where we have an open level of transparency and reciprocation, where you don't have management acting independent nor a board member acting independent, but instead everyone kind of watches what everything is happening in our office. You're able to see this on a 24-hour, 7-day basis, 7 days a week, 24-hour basis, to watch member accounts, their financials, what's happening, how our staff members are responding and following, with member requests and complaints, and it just keeps everybody accountable. It keeps everything above board, and knowing is that's half the battle.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know your company is growing, and as we hear about more of the contract opportunities, all that, but let everybody know what area do you cover, and the associations that you may be interested in working with, how they connect with you to work with you more.
Absolutely. In terms of territory, we cover the entire metro area. I mean, right now we have properties as far as Sugarloaf, around the Gwinnett area, back down to Lithonia, Wesley Chapel, or Snapfinger. So there's no area that we don't go. In fact, we're reaching out for a South Georgia office right now currently as well, to be able to cover the entire state. So with that regard, if you have questions, if you're interested, just reach out to us. I would say that, I do a lot of, coaching and training, and just, sharing of information. So don't think it's going to be a cost associated with it. Our passion is to definitely, help these communities and help them preserve and know, there are alternatives and resources that are available. So feel free to use us as a resource, and just give me a call.
Fantastic. I love that. Y'all heard it now. So make sure you take advantage of that. And then one other thing, and another great note for you to take today, is that it's also important to make sure that you are getting involved in other organizations, that as your business you have a presence with that, and several different types of organizations. You have your chambers and all of that, but specialized organizations as well. And with that, and saying that you are the is it chapter president?
I am.
Okay.
I am the Columbus chapter president. As I mentioned, Columbus is my hometown, so it was befitting, for the National Association of Women-Owned Businesses.
Yes. I love that. I love that. You all definitely want to check out their organization. They just have some great networking opportunities.
Absolutely.
And we just won't even get into the accolades of the founder, Ms. Tammy Fultz, because she just has a truly vested interest with helping women-owned small businesses get their certifications, get the contracts, and she will work with you and hold your hand and help you through all of that process. So this organization has several chapters in the Metro Atlanta area. I know there's chapters in Savannah now, and I think South Carolina, but then you're over the Columbus, Georgia one, and there's a fantastic event that's coming up, the Pink Procurement Expo and Luncheon that's coming up, and that is, let me get the date right, March 31st.
That's correct.
And so we want to make sure that you all check that out, and it's president and sponsor of that. Tell everyone a little bit about what they can expect they come to the conference.
Wow, coming to that conference, again, that's March 31st down in Columbus, Georgia, a wealth of access just to providers, information, as well as opportunities. Those procurement events are exceptional. Rarely, if anyone's out there in the federal space or looking to delve into bidding and or corporate or different, private sector companies, how do you get access to those decision makers? So to have an opportunity where you're in a room full of those individuals and you are connecting with them on a one-on-one individual basis, able to say, this is who my company is, this is what we do, why you should, choose us, because, if we are, because we are a certified WOSB, WBE, or veteran-owned business, or we're in this hub zone, all those different, certifications and those different accomplishments that you've achieved in your professional career in operating your businesses, those are what those guys are looking for and looking to hear, and they want to work with us. And it's not difficult and as challenging as many may seem, but through the National Association of Women-Owned Businesses, go check out that Pink Procurement expo.com site, register there, come and join us. But essentially, having that opportunity to connect and being able to see what it is that they're looking for and how to get on the inside to get your foot in the door, to get that contract, even if it's a piece of a contract, a venture with someone else who's already another company that's a little bit more established, just to get some of that performance history that you need. That goes a very long way,
It does. It does. It is truly awesome because I'm telling you, it's no easy feat, and it's something that you don't want to go alone, But so having someone there to help you with that, but then meeting other women-owned small businesses and that have gone through the certification process that can just share their experience with you. And like you mentioned, sometimes getting a piece of a contract.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about trying to get everything and get it all yourself. Sometimes you have to go in and be a part of it, and there's some great opportunities in that. And then just the value of getting in front of, oh my gosh, the procurement officers and really learning the inside of the business. This organization, you want to check it out, nawosb.org, National Association of Women-Owned Small Businesses. Don't miss the Pink Procurement Conference. It's a great opportunity to just start experiencing and start networking. It's going to be in Columbus, Georgia. And again, it's on March 31st. And the website was pinkprocurementexpo.com.
That is correct.
Fantastic. Everyone, we want to make sure that you mention it, Shandron. We're looking forward to coming down. Business TV Network is going to be on location because, again, we love helping businesses get exposure. So that's what we're going to be down there doing as well and doing spotlights. So make sure that you come on down and join us. And also, before we leave, one last time, Shandron, please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. POSolutions.net. You can give us a call at 678-715-1430 or my personal email, Shan, SHAN, at POSolutions.net.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. We've had a great time. Again, go back, get those notes down. Please share this with others as well. Let them know about the opportunities that are out there and available to them. You can check out the show again at www.bizlinks.tv. Also, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/bizlinkstv. And guess what? Our Facebook is facebook.com/bizlinkstv. Make sure that you go like our page. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us comments for our guests as well so that we can share that with them. And we look forward to you joining us for our next episode. I am Pamela Alexander with BizLinks TV Network, exposing your business to the world.
10 years to learn the business. 10 years to make a name. 1 year on your own. It takes time to build a small business, but only 60 days to transform it with email marketing from Constant Contact. Sign up with Constant Contact and get 60 days of free email marketing to generate referrals, connect with clients, and build the business you've always wanted. Constant Contact. Start your 60-day free trial today.
Thank you for joining us. Today's show can be viewed on demand on our website at www.bizlinks.tv. If you are interested in having your products, services, or special cause showcased on our program, submit an inquiry to That's My Biz at bizlinks.tv. In addition, information on advertising and hosting your own show can be found on our website at bizlinks.tv.